time, your gateway to the world. AFR! American Freedom Radio. Give it to them.
All right, we're trying to track down the Apocalypse Man. Somewhere trying to slam us into a very busy schedule today. Hopefully he'll get us, and we'll get him. Allegedly, Jack Blood with you. It's Deadline Live, AmericanFreedomRadio.com and affiliates. Thanks for joining us today. Yeah, I'm pretty frazzled. This isn't an easy job on the best of days. No sleep. I'm on like no sleep. No sleep whatsoever, and been very, very busy working for Liberty here the last week or so. But we'll get it all done for you. Hopefully the Apocalypse Man will join us here shortly. I'll go ahead and play this. This is a pretty good lead-in. It's humor. We're all going to die. According to the History Channel. I like to say that this happens about once a year, but it seems like it is just constant, isn't it? Some of you don't even watch the History Channel anymore. Then you would have missed the Apocalypse Man, which was actually pretty good. All right, here's the take from Infomania, and I gotta agree with some of this. Here it is.
The History Channel knows the one thing that sucks about history is that it's already happened. So it's not as scary as, say, the future, when all of us will die.
Our days are numbered. Prepare for doomsday.
The universe has no shortage of ways it can kill us.
All around us are invisible creatures that have the potential to bring our civilization to its knees.
Scientists agree that the world will end. Every person knows that we are on the verge of apocalypse.
I believe that the Antichrist is very much alive right now in Europe somewhere.
The Antichrist is alive in Europe? What? Welcome to Armageddon Week, a.k.a. Future Week on the History Channel. 7 days in early January devoted to our imminent demise. It featured darkly lit interviews, sound bites from bearded prophecy experts, images of beloved cities exploding, animals walking where people used to be, blood splatters, and fiery Bible fonts, and shows with names like Last Days on Earth, Life After People, After Armageddon, 7 Signs of the Apocalypse, Apocalypse Man, First Apocalypse, Siberian Apocalypse, and Apocalypse Island, all produced to scare the living crap out of you.
Mankind's destiny is to go beyond time. If we live.
Oh, that is a big if. Now, in History Channel's defense, Armageddon Week did include a tiny bit of history, but only so that viewers would be able to draw some informed parallels about the way in which their lives will end very soon.
What really caused the atomic-like explosion in the wilderness of Siberia 100 years ago remains a mystery. But many agree a similar disaster will happen again somewhere in the world.
If disease extinguished the dinosaurs, could it do the same to human beings?
Happened to the dinos, it could happen to you. Now, when the History Channel ran out of history to talk about, they just said, F it, and started making stuff up.
This program is a theoretical account of the worst-case scenario for global disaster.
And these theoretical accounts make great TV. You get animated scenes of New York City flooding and of your local gas station attendant being beaten to death by an angry mob, and definite proof that in the future, there's going to be some really terrible acting.
What are you doing, Chris?
We've got to make this place look like it's been ransacked.
Chris! Chris! No. That's clean laundry! Chris, what am I going to wear to our human flesh fondue party?
Now, these are situations which we might all face one day, which is why we should be thankful for Apocalypse Man. This guy's purpose is to teach us all how to survive in a lawless future when neighborhoods become nightmares.
You need to be ready for anything, and I mean anything, that's on the other side of the storm. As disaster unfolds, residential neighborhoods like this could become conflict areas. People could be our friend, they could also be our enemy. If they see you, they'll want to fight you for what you got.
Yes, and be sure to bring your Nikes, because after Armageddon, even though there's nowhere to really go, you're going to have to do a lot of running and parkour, I don't know what he's doing, and you will be surprised by the random-ass things that could save your life.
This flashlight with fresh batteries, it's going to save your life. What used to be junk could now save your life. This is a sewer map. And this could save your life.
To recap, that's a flashlight, a sewer map, and junk. You know, if I don't get a chance to tell you in person, History Channel, thank you.
It's MacGyver on steroids, and it's the real thing, folks, the Apocalypse Man. Many, many people watch this, and, you know, I saw the whole Apocalypse Week. I don't watch a lot of that because it is, as that little piece of satire really intimated, it's just a lot of imagination. What might happen to scare and condition you, but as we saw in Hurricane Katrina, as we have seen, of course, here in Haiti. That the lights could go out, the grocery stores could close. You could, even if the whole world doesn't blow up, your city could go down, and you've got to be prepared. And I thought the Apocalypse Man just did a fantastic job showing what could happen and what you could do if you're prepared. Joining us on the program here, Deadline Live, today is the Apocalypse Man, Rudy Reyes. Rudy, great to have you.
Thank you so much. It's my honor.
Hey, man, I know that we just played a little piece of satire there, and the whole thing going along with Apocalypse Week, it is, outside the average imagination of human beings. We don't like to think about these things, but everyone's got a theory. But there is a reality, isn't there, Rudy, that we saw with Katrina, again with Haiti, that natural disasters could happen, things could happen, and we've got to be prepared. We've got to know how to stand up for ourselves.
That's exactly right, Jack. I had an aunt that was down in Cozumel just 4 years ago when the hurricanes came in, and she was out there with a bunch of tourists having fun, scuba diving and being on vacation. And when that hurricane came in, they were dropped into a situation that was third world and really frightening. And a lot of people lost their lives. And it was really the warrior mindset and the willingness to keep driving on, look for food, clean your water, and work together that saved the day.
Does the warrior mindset tell you to go report to the Superdome and sit in there and wait until it's all over or wait for help?
No, Jack, I'm telling you, that is the more primitive part of the brain that kicks in fight or flight. And, when a little mouse is walking through a field and they see a cat across the way, its first instinct is to freeze. They just freeze. And you hope that the danger will go by. Well, the human beings, we have that same response in our brain. And if we're not taught or if we don't have the confidence to actually seek some information to really make us a force to be out there, then we'll freeze. And that's what happened there in Katrina. Everybody just froze at that Superdome waiting for someone else to make the decision to save their life.
Being prepared alleviates the fear, I think, Rudy, and that's, kind of the lesson that you were teaching there. Like I said, MacGyver ain't got nothing on you, brother. You were in Generation Kill. You played yourself in that. Explain a little bit how that went down, and then I want to go back to Apocalypse Man because there's so much to talk about. But talk a little bit about Generation Kill. It came from a Rolling Stone article entitled The Killer Elite by Evan Wright, and you were involved in that HBO series. Talk about filming it and maybe, where you're at after several tours of duty here in war.
I'll tell you what. First of all, Evan Wright, God bless him, because he wrote the introduction on my book, Hero Living. He took that title of the article, The Killer Elite, from me, because The Killer Elite is a film in 1972 or 73 that James Caan and Robert Duvall were in, and there was a lot of kung fu and martial arts because it was set in Chinatown in San Francisco. And so he always hears me talking about films, and he hears me talking about comic books, and he remembered The Killer Elite. How it went about was, I'm a recon Marine, so I joined the Marine Corps because I wanted some challenge. Not some challenge. I wanted the ultimate challenge. And I joined during peacetime, but I just had a feeling the way my karma is that I'm going to be tested. And sure enough, I was tested after September 11th. I went into Afghanistan and was running ops in Kandahar in Afghanistan. And then I came back again and prepared for Iraq in 2003. Well, I don't know if you recall that at the time the administration wanted to embed reporters with the military effort, in a sense, to give some good PR to the invasion and overthrowing regimes of tyranny and about spreading democracy around the world. Well, that's how Evan Wright got involved. The deal was there was Men's Health and a couple other magazines that wanted to go on these missions, but when they found out that we were on a suicide mission, we were called the 1st Suicide Battalion at the time because we were fighting in mop suits and were prepared to be chemmed or dirty nuclear weapons used on us or biological weapons. Evan Wright was the only one that hung around. He was the only one, and he survived almost a month straight of battle, and he wrote those articles in Rolling Stone, which later became a book, Generation Kill, and that became a Emmy Award-winning miniseries, Generation Kill, on HBO.
Yeah.
And they needed a hard devil dog who had person skills to teach the actors, and that's how I originally got involved.
Well, you certainly do have that. Rudy Reyes with us, and his website is rudyreyes.com. You can catch up on all the various projects he has. He's also does a lot of motivational speaking. Rudy, you've overcome a lot of challenges in your life to get to this elevated position, and now you are the darling of both men and women everywhere. Men want to be you, and women want you.
Oh, my brother, they got a couple men that want me too, dog.
That goes with the territory.
Dog, it does. But, you know, I see it completely as a positive thing. And however people find me, and they maybe the appeal is fitness, or they think I'm attractive or whatever, when they see what I stand for, as far as really building up oneself through discipline, through compassion, through respect in one's actions and in one's posture, and also what I do for veterans and for anybody I run into. I try to pay it forward.
Yeah.
If they can get a little bit of that information and they can get some of that inspiration and spirit, then I've done my job. I've done my duty.
You, people have called you a sushi-eating Buddhist Marine. I mean, those things probably never go together, do they? And are you really a Buddhist? You just practice Buddhism? I mean,
yeah. You know, it was so much of my practice when I was in the Marine Corps, but since I've been out of the Marine Corps, I have to be honest, I have lost a lot of faith in a lot of things and a lot of struggles in me trying to find out what I am outside of the reconnaissance community and who I am. So now I'm looking for that faith again. Now, the beauty of Buddhism is that it is a practice, not just a spirituality. And that practice of discipline, which I still use for my mixed martial arts and powerlifting and such, it is what gets me over on those really, really hard days.
It does seem, Rudy, that being a Marine and being trained in the art of war, which is, let's face it, using the ultimate weapons to win the advantage, to win the war. This is why I urge my listeners to be very careful when they support war, because we talk to a lot of veterans like yourself. It's very serious. This isn't a video game. But it seems like being a Buddhist or practicing Buddhism and then being a trained killer. It's a little contradictory, I guess, my listeners might think.
It is a contradiction, yes, but within that contradiction there is possibility for questioning and for problem solving, and I think that's why being a Buddhist, I see myself as a Shaolin warrior, as a samurai, made complete sense on the battlefield. Also, I did not hate the men that I was killing. I did not hate them, and hatred takes so much energy and so much power from oneself when one needs to be continuously pushing his vision and his peripheral vision out and being aware of the 360-degree battlefield that one is in. So I did not use hatred. Instead, I used compassion, you see?
Apocalypse Man, Rudy Reyes with us on the program today. Rudy, we got you in a little bit late, and we're about to go to break, so I sure hope you could stay just a couple of minutes on the other side so we can talk a little bit more about Apocalypse Man, which I hope comes back. I hope it's renewed. I hope it moves forward, because there's some really useful...
I just got a call from the freaking executive producer from History Channel, so things are looking real good.
Good. I have to bring this up, and I don't say this in any way to disrespect our men and women who are fighting and following orders, simply. But I have been a student of history, and I read an interesting book by General Smedley Butler, who at one time was the most highly decorated Marine in history.
Sure. Of course.
His father, Secretary of the Navy, et cetera, and he wrote a book called War is a Racket. Have you had a chance to look into that or read that? And what would be your opinion of that?
I know all about it.
Yeah.
I know all about it, brother. Smedley Butler, do you recall, there was some big political and business rings in the East Coast. They got together and they said, hey, listen up. We don't like what's going on in the United States because...
the Morgans, the DuPonts tried to overthrow FDR, and he stopped it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. They approached Smedley Butler to say, hey, listen, Devil Dog, if you can motivate and mobilize all the Marines to help us overthrow FDR, basically we will institute military law, and you will be, basically a Mussolini.
Rudy, let's pick up on that when we come back. We'll have about 6 or 7 minutes. I'll get you out of here. I know you got to go to West Point to inspire and train the troops up there. Stay with Rudy Reyes, RudyReyes.com, the Apocalypse Man. He'll come back with us, Deadline Live. Stay tuned. I'm Jack Blood. That's almost superhero music. We've got a superhero on the program with us today, the Apocalypse Man, but it's Rudy Reyes. He was in Generation Kill. Many do call him a superhero, the perfect definition of a form, mind, body, and spirit. Really glad to have you on today, Rudy, and I love talking to you. I wish we had a lot more time, but we were talking about war as a racket, Smedley Butler, and that coup from the Morgans, DuPonts, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, that if it wasn't for him, would have happened.
Yeah, we would have been in some kind of militarized state that we see in many regimes in Central America and South America, other regimes that actually we criticize.
I can't help but feel we almost ended up there anyway, Rudy.
For sure. Well, let us not lose sight that big business, which is now not even just American big business, because now big business is now global, but it is the SOP, the standard operating procedure, to put in puppet regimes in these certain third world countries that help leverage the region in order to exploit raw resources and or shipping lanes. So, I mean, that's been the way of the world for the last 100 years.
Absolutely, and even longer. What do the cadets at West Point think about, you've been critical of the war, you were a little critical of President Bush. I assume that criticism continues through the Obama administration, as not much has really changed. How do the cadets, how do your fellow military people think, or do they largely feel the same way, Rudy?
Well, this is what I do with the cadets. The cadets are... Wow, I have to first of all say that I was so impressed with them. I'm not easy to impress when it comes to the military, because I've been with the best and the brightest in the world. These cadets, these young people, are just magnificent. They're thinkers. They question, but they're also taught military discipline, so they definitely have that kind of bearing that accomplishes missions. So what I do is I don't talk about politics too much. I talk about realities on the battlefield and what they're going to experience on the ground with the dirt in their nose and the grit in their eyes and the weapon in their hand.
Sure. Got to get them ready as you can. I think my question more was if they know who you are and have seen some of these comments.
How do they receive me?
Yeah.
How do they receive me as a rebel military man?
Yeah.
They receive me very well. They receive me very well. I think because no matter what one's criticism is of an administration, especially since, I already did my duty, and I never questioned anything when I was doing my duty. Right. When you have the credentials and you're still alive. Yeah, I mean, I've fought in 3 wars. I'm still alive. That's a proof that I know something.
Well, speaking of not questioning anything, there is a question of protecting and defending the Constitution against enemies foreign and domestic. That's part of the oath that our military and police take. Have you heard of an operation called Oath Keepers, who get our military and police to reaffirm that, so when the apocalypse comes, Rudy, it isn't the citizens versus the military?
I see. I have not heard of that. I don't count on any institution to help me through a struggle and through a breakdown of society. I count on myself first.
Sure. I mean, this is more of just a reaffirming of the oath. It isn't an institution, to remind people of their primary oath, and that is not to take orders that might be considered unconstitutional. I don't know if you would agree with that or not.
I think it's a wonderful ideal. Unfortunately, I don't even see that happening in our society now, and our society is insulated, and the whole society here in America is not fighting. And even in this very soft and insulated world of the United States of America, that's not happening. So I don't know, brother. I don't know what the answer is, except that one must get very serious with oneself about where they stand as a human being and where they stand as a warrior and where they stand as a patriot.
Boy, I couldn't agree with that more, and that's something we try to, project here in our program, but thinking for yourself. Great men think for themselves. We've changed the famous quote from Think Alike, and you exemplify that. Let's talk, before we run out of time, we've got about 2 or 3 minutes, and I know you're really busy. You got to fly. Apocalypse Man, it was filmed in Detroit. Rudy, it looked as if the apocalypse had already happened in Detroit due to, I guess, the economic depression there. Can you take us behind the scenes in the filming a little bit?
Absolutely. Well, we were filming Apocalypse Man in Detroit. There was no set dressing. It was not a set. It was real. And the apocalypse has happened there. I don't know when the last time you've been there, brother, but industry is completely left. They have a gorgeous downtown with only one of 8 buildings with businesses in it, and it's at 38% unemployment. Detroit is, and it's a society and a people that has been left behind by the globalization of industry, and it's third world in our own country, and it's just such a sad shame. But I've been in the third world a lot, in the Marine Corps and in Africa, and I know the way of the world, and it didn't surprise me. It's a sad thing, but it did not surprise me.
You have a lot of tips in Apocalypse Man, as you mentioned. This could be picked up for more issues. We've got Man vs. Wild. There's a lot of great shows like this that I think are really instructive for people. We see you giving us a lot of tips, Rudy, on Apocalypse Man. How much of that was edited for time? I mean, obviously you can't sit there for an hour distilling gasoline. It doesn't make for good TV. Sure. But a lot of it, probably edited, and I think some people had questions as to if the rest of us, you're Superman, if the rest of us could do the things you did.
Sure. Well, you know what? Okay, if a person can't do the things that I did in the show, then they better get to a position where they can. Yeah. They better get more serious about how they eat and teach and train their body, which is their vehicle in this world, to be able to be survivable and to not just survive but eventually thrive. Now, there was much more that you all did not see. In the first episode, I was hunting rats, and I have to kill them, and I teach you how to field dress them and what to eat, what not to eat, how to observe their eyes and smell the meat so that you make sure it's good. I also teach you how to pick locks so that you can get in and out of places. There was so much that could not be fit into that 47 minutes of a program. But it will go on other programs, I'm sure.
Kind of like the show we have here. So much we can't fit in it. We did fit you in, and you're very kind to have taken time for us today. I talked to your people, and they were very helpful and talked about having you back when you have a little more time. So Happy New Year to you. RudyReyes.com. Thank you for the time. And thanks for everything you're doing. And I hope people pay a lot of attention to what you're offering, because I think it's very motivational and it will alleviate the fear of the coming apocalypse. Thank you, Rudy. Appreciate it.
You got it, buddy. And you'll see me out there on History Channel in some capacity.
We'll look for you. We're going to look for you. RudyReyes.com. We're going to come back top of the hour, and then Brent Johnson will join us for the second hour of the show. We're live today, Friday. It is January 15th, 2010. I'm Jack Blood, AmericanFreedomRadio.com. Stay with us.